Welcome to Crane Training Consulting Services, Grove Load Chart, Truck Mount, Telescopic Boom Crane, Swing Cab, TLL. We're going to go ahead and continue with the tutorial for these load charts. This is a continuation. This load chart in particular is the net capacity lifting off the main boom over the side. This should be a fairly easy, fairly basic chart. There's a few more deductions, so we're throwing a little bit more complication in there. You just got to make sure you're doing all your deductions correctly. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So our first thing, like we normally do, we go down here to uh, our deductions diagram. Go ahead and the first thing we're going to look for, we got our outriggers fully extended, 7,800 pound removable counterweight. Those things never change. It also says what is net capacity lifting off the side, lifting over the side with the main boom. That tells us that is going to be our 360-degree chart. So we're going to go down here to 16. So we're going to do a write our write it in right here. Let's change this to 12. So that will be 360 degree. Add up. 360 degrees. All right, our next configuration here, we're going to jump down to the following section, main boom. We got 70 foot of main boom. So we're going to go ahead and put that here, 70 foot. Then our next one, we got main boom angle, NA, not applicable. Radius is 49 feet. So we'll do our radius down here like we normally do. 49 feet. And then we're going to go our line pull. Line pull is always going to be the same. 12,920 pounds. Make sure we always put that up here. We're going to put that up here in the top with where our line pull is at. After that, we're going to start with our deductions. We've got our other NA, so we don't have a load or anything that we're going to be picking on this per se. The next one will be our auxiliary boom head. We look over here to the left. Auxiliary boom head is 143 pounds. Auxiliary boom head, so 143. Okay, we got that. We'll move this up here just a little bit. Keep it in line with our descriptions. Now starting in the third row, it says extension, and then moving over to the fourth row, tells us what type of extension. It's a fixed stowed extension. We'll look over here in our extension, our 32-foot fixed extension. That is going to be stowed extension, and that's going to be 267 pounds. Over here, 267. Oops, let's redo this a second here. Our extension stowed 267. Our block, we're going to see where our block is, and we have a 15 ton. I know it's hard to see. 15 ton, one shiv, two parts of line. 15 ton, one shiv, two parts of line. Look right here, that's going to be 380 pounds. 15 ton, two parts line. So 380 pounds, and like I like to do, we'll put how many parts line times 2. That's going to come in handy when we need to figure out our line deduction and if we have one or not. So our ball, we've got down right here, we have a 7.5 ton headache ball, 10 foot below the tip. We look over here to the left, that's going to be 338 pounds. So ball, 338. Also, we're going to put 10 below. That lets us know that our ball is 10 foot below. Same thing we've been doing here. Just kind of squeak this over a little bit here so everything lines up. And now our next deduction falling below that, that's our rigging. If you look down in the right corner, that will be 150 pounds. So go ahead. So 150. I'm gonna move that up so it matches up a little bit better. Rigging 150. And now we know one of two things for our line deduction already. Our ball, it shows 10 foot below the tip. So 10 foot below tip, we can already automatically deduct. That's going to be a pound a foot times 10 feet. So 1 times 10, that's going to be 10. So that's a 10-pound deduction right there. 10 pounds. So now, only thing we got to do after this, now that we have all our deductions, we have auxiliary head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 deductions total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're right on track with what we need to have on our 360-degree chart. So everything that we need now is pretty much here. We just need to find our tip height now. So we'll go ahead and put this in here. Tip height. Move it up just a wee bit so we can see it. So our tip height, so now we're done with our deductions page. Now we're going to move on and we're going to find our tip height so that we can find our line deduction if we have one. Remember, we have 2 parts of line. We need to find out what our gross capacity is and if we can pick that gross capacity on our load chart with 1 part of line, or if we need both parts of line, meaning then we don't have a line deduction to make that pick. So we have our our main boom angle, our main boom length of 70 degrees, and we got our radius of 49. So we're going to come over here, get a pin out here. We're going to do 49. So we're not quite at 50. So we're not quite at 50, but for our radius, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to 50. That's going to be our radius right there. Anytime on your radius, if you are between lengths on your radius, you go ahead and go to the next longest one. And then we have a 70-foot tip height right here. So 70 feet. We're going to follow that arc. Make sure you follow the arc and don't go straight across. 70 feet. And we're at 50. So this is where our lines are going to intersect. The only one you go straight across with is your radius, but then so that you meet your arc. So then from there, we've intersected here. So we're going to follow that line all the way to the left. And that's going to put our tip height at 50 feet. So now that we have our tip height, we're going to go here. We're going to put in 50 feet. Put this a little bit up and over. So we have our tip height. So now we have all of our deductions, everything, all the information that we need to figure this problem out, aside from our gross capacity. So now you notice, like I said, we're moving through the charts. We're not going back. We're not flipping through pages. We're continually progressing, and this is the way it needs to be done, so you don't lose that valuable time that you have for your load to do on your load charts. So we're at our 360-degree chart. So this is on Outriggers, fully extended 360 degrees. Okay, that's what we need. That's what we're looking for. Now we're going to do our 70-foot boom. So we'll find our radius or our boom first. So we got 70 foot of main boom. So here's 70. And then we're going to look for our radius at 49 feet. So we are between these 2 charts on your load charts. So this tells us we've got to find where our radius is actually going to be, what radius we're going to use. So the rule is if you're between boom length or radius on your load chart, then you're going to go to the lowest capacity, the smallest chart. So we're going to go over here to the 70-foot column, right? We're going to come down here just like this to the 70-foot column, and we're going to decide between these 2 charts. So we're at 40 and 45. So we're going to find the lowest capacity chart. at that radius or with that boom length. So that's going to be 13,600 because our next chart is at 15,650. I'm sorry. I went to the wrong one. We're gonna we need to go a chart down. So we are gonna be going 40 and 45. I messed up on that. It's gonna be 45, 45 and 50. 45 and 50. So we're gonna be picking between these two charts right here. This is where we're living at, between these two charts. So from there, we're going to figure out which one's the lowest. The lowest capacity chart is going to be the 11,450. Perfect. So now we got our gross capacity. Now we can go ahead and fill that in, our gross capacity. It's 11,450. That's our gross capacity. So the next thing we do, can we make that pick, that 11,450 with one part align? Well, since this number up here is bigger, that means yes. Anytime this number is bigger than your gross capacity, then it only takes one part. Anytime this number is bigger than your line pull, it's going to take more than one part align. You're just going to have to divide your gross capacity by your line pull. That'll give you your parts align that you need. So if it's 1.5, that means you need 2 parts. If it's 2.5, you need 3 parts. If it's 2.01, you need 3 parts because you cannot do fractional parts align. So now let's go ahead. We know that we are going to have a line duction at 11,450 pounds because we don't need that second part of the line to make that pick. So from tip to ground, we have 50 foot of tip height. So you deduct 1 pound a foot times that by your tip height. So 1 times 50 is automatically 50. Go ahead and add that. Now we have all the deductions that we need in order to find our total deductions. So I'm going to go ahead and make a line right here. Make that a little bit thinner. And add our text in. So what we're going to have here is we're going to add up our deductions. We have, go ahead. So we're going to start with the top, 143 plus 267. And if you need to, make a check mark by each one of these so that you know you are accounting for them. You're marking off them. You're adding them to your deductions. Make sure you're very thorough. This is where a lot of people mess up. So we're at 267 plus, so we got 143 plus 267 plus 380 plus 338 plus 150 plus 10 plus 50. That equals 1,338 is going to be our deduction. So we've got 1,338. That's going to be our total deductions. So now we're going to go ahead and add our deductions over here. 1,338. So we have 11,450 minus 1,338. 11,450 minus, oops, 11,450 minus 1,338 equals 10,112. And that is going to be our deduction, 10,112. That is going to be our answer. And let's see what answer that is down here. That's going to be 10,112. Did I say 11,000? Yeah, 10,112, and that is the correct answer for this chart. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Thanks for listening. And if you need to read these over, read them over as many times as you want. You don't have to test until you're ready to actually test.